Hello friends, welcome to my new video blog. Today, let's try to understand the concept of updated income tax return which was introduced in budget 2022. Let's understand the concept which was put across in the parliament in budget speech. So, if you have filed an income tax return and due time for revising the income tax return have expired, or if you have not filed an income tax return and due time for filing an income tax return have expired, and you have discovered that, or you have come to know that you have missed out an income which is to be included in your income tax return, then in such situations you can use this facility which is known as updated income tax return, whereby you can file an income tax return including such incomes. So let's try to understand the concept in details. See, we are in financial year 21-22, which will be ending in 31st March of 2022. So due time of filing a return for the year financial year 21-22 is for non-tax audit assessees is 31/7/2022, and for people for whom tax audit is mandatory, the date is 30/9/2022. So this is a time in which you can file your income tax return without paying any interest or penalty. But even after expiry of due date till 31/3/2023, you will be able to file an income tax return which will be filed after paying an interest and penalty. And you can also keep in mind that if you have filed a return in due time, you can revise this income tax return up to 31/3/2023. But say you have must to include an income in that return also, or you have not filed a return at all, and you know that you want to show some of the income that you have earned which is taxable in your income tax return. In such cases, government have come up with a new provision which allows you to include that income and pay tax which within 2 years from the end of the financial year. I mean, from the end of the assessment year. That means that in our example, for the year 21-22, you can file an updated return between 31/3/2023 and 31/3/2025, showing the extra income which you have missed out to include in your return. Now let's understand who can file a return. If a person has filed his return and his time to revise the return have expired, he is eligible to file an updated income tax return. Same way, if a person has filed a belated return and he has also missed the date for revising the return, he also can file an updated income tax return. If a person has filed a return and he has also revised the return, but time to revise the return has expired, he is also eligible to file an updated income tax return. Now let's say a person has not at all filed an income tax return and the time to file the belated return also has expired, he is also eligible to file an updated income tax return. Now certain kinds of returns are not eligible to be filed in the portal. Now let's understand which all types of returns are ineligible to be filed as an updated income tax return. If the updated income tax return that you are going to file is showing a loss, or if you want to claim a loss in the updated income tax return, that is not possible. Always your updated income tax return should include incomes and not losses. If the return that you're going to file is making your already filed or already assessable tax lower, that is, you have filed an income tax return already, and by filing this new updated income tax return, if the tax liability that you had to pay in the original return is revising or reducing, you are not eligible to file such an updated income tax return. And also, if already claimed refund in the original return is being increased through this updated income tax return, you are not eligible to file an updated income tax return. Now let's understand which all persons are not eligible to file an updated income tax return. If a person on whom a search is initiated under this act, then that person is not eligible to file an updated income tax return. Same way, on a person, if a survey is being initiated under this act, he is also not permitted to file an updated income tax return. Also, if a person is being served with a notice regarding or about seizure of bullions or other valuable items, he is also not eligible to file a updated income tax return. The same way, if a person is being served with a notice in regard to documents or details of other person, he is also not eligible to file an updated income tax return. So we saw which all are the returns that cannot be filed as an updated income tax return, who all are not eligible to file an updated income tax return. Now let's try to understand in which all years an updated income tax return cannot be filed. If you have already once filed an updated return for an assessment year, then you are not eligible to file an updated return again for that assessment year. If a year is subject to proceedings like assessments or reassessment, then you are not eligible to file an updated income tax return for that assessment year. Same way, if any prosecution is pending for an assessment year, then you are not eligible to file an updated return for that assessment year. Now I have told that other than all these three categories, you can file an updated income tax return. Now let's compute the tax that is to be paid along with the updated income tax return. First, include all your incomes and compute tax on that. From that tax, reduce already paid tax while you have filed the return, original return, the advance tax, any other taxes that you have already paid. Also reduce the TDS and TCS amount from such computed tax liability. Then reduce all the reliefs available under 89, 90, 90A and 91. After doing all this, the figure that is arriving will be the amount that is to be paid as tax while filing your updated income tax return. Now, with this updated income tax return, you are liable to pay interest on, that is 234B and C, which are the interest on delayed payment of advance tax. So you are liable to pay this interest also along with this additional extra tax, also something called as additional tax. We will understand how this additional tax is computed. So additional tax is actually a percentage of tax that is to be paid along with the extra tax that you are going to pay along with this updated income tax return. So the marginal tax, that is the extra tax that you are going to pay along with this updated income tax return, you have to add a percentage to it as additional tax and pay along with the interest. So let's compute the additional tax. If you are filing an updated return from the end of the assessment year, that is from the end of the time in which you can pay a tax, you can file the return, from that end of the assessment year, within 12 months from the end of the assessment year, then the additional tax that you have to pay is 25% of the extra tax that you are liable to pay. And from 12 months, if your return filing period is from the 12 months to 24 months from the date of your expiry of assessment year, then 50% is the additional tax that you have to pay. So by complying all these provisions, a genuine person who have missed out to include an income in his income tax return, or who have genuinely missed out to file an income tax return, will be able to file an updated income tax return and comply with the provisions. This will definitely reduce the litigations, and assessee will be free from all the burdens that he should undergo while going through a litigation. I hope this was a useful video. Kindly subscribe my channel and get updated about such informations.